at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs, welcome to the Monday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Max Gotro is back from his trip to Chicago. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. And Troy Macker with us today, of course, from Bat Rivers. Big weekend. Lot of stuff to get to. The NFL draft finishes up there. Second and third rounds on Friday, and the rest of the rounds on Saturday. The Zurich saw the Fitzpatrick brothers with a pretty emotional win yesterday at 18. LSU baseball swept for the third consecutive weekend, and some bad sections of the record book that we had to go diving around for over the weekend. But so we got a lot to get. The NBA playoffs as well, continuing through the weekend. So we got a lot to get to. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning.
The NFL draft, we talked a lot about Jordan Tyson on Friday. We both are in agreement that if he is on the field, he is going to be a tremendous help to the Saints. The injury concerns, high risk, high reward on Jordan Tyson. Now I want to talk about the rest of the Saints draft. And on Friday, they went for a pair of Georgia Bulldogs. First, Christian Miller, who will be a nose tackle for the Saints at 6'3", 321 pounds. I loved this pick. I was hoping that they would be able to get some help on that defensive interior. I thought that, last year at times, Davin Godchaux was, a good player for him. He's in the last year of his contract, but maybe they did not have the type of rotations that you'd liked inside, and the Saints gave up a lot of rushing yards. Would like to get a big body in there. I liked Lee Hunter from Texas Tech, but I think Miller is just as good or better. And so I loved that pick. The second pick was another Georgia Bulldog, Oscar Delp. And even though they brought Noah Fant in as a veteran to go with Juwan Johnson, they needed a young tight end in the room. And Delp, while he is not the prospect that Brock Bowers was a very productive, very good blocker at Georgia, productive receiver who seemed to have some upside. Liked that pick. Love the pick of Jeremiah Wright from Auburn in the fourth round, a guard. They should be looking to upgrade from Cesar Ruiz, who had a poor year, I thought, for the most part last year. Wright is a converted defensive lineman that is a road grader at 6'5", 330 pounds, needs some work in the pass protection game, but is a very, very good run blocker. And I think gets you ready, right off the bat to make some moves there. Hopefully he'll be able to get in there. Bryce Lance, thought about you, Max, when saw this pick. Maybe a somewhat raw wide receiver, but big size, 6'3", 205 pounds, and he ran a 4.34 at the combine. So you got some tools there to work with. Lorenzo Styles was a productive converted receiver as a safety at Ohio State. Barrion Brown, wide receiver from LSU, is a guy I think can help them in the return game since they, have moved on last year. And T.J. Hall from Iowa, a corner who's thought to be a really good technician, but lacks the foot speed to have gone earlier there. So I like the Saints draft. I mean, it's risky at the top. We talked about that a lot on Friday, but I thought they filled a lot of needs. I thought they got good value with most of these guys. I didn't think there were tremendous reaches. And did they fill out every need on the team? No. It was going to be tough to do that, but they traded for two veteran defensive linemen who've had at least a little production, maybe a little disappointing where they were, but a little bit of production. They probably could still stand to add a veteran corner before the season starts. But, Jimmy, overall, I liked what they did.
Well, ultimately, we don't know. So,
this is always a guessing game with the draft. I could go back and do the 23 draft.
How many of these guys are going to sign their second deal? That's when we'll know 4 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
and on the league average, 40% of your draftees sign their second year deal, second deal with the team that drafted them.
Yeah.
So we don't know. On paper, it does. I mean, the obvious thing is they got more weapons around your young quarterback. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's, Tyson. I mean, I'm fine. Saints are far away. I mean, they're not. I'm fine with a high risk, high reward type of pick. I mean, Mekhi Lemon and a slot guy. Now you're going to take him. So, it's just we'll see. That's ultimately what we'll 4 years from now is you ultimately evaluate the draft. So, because we've sat here in this day and said this guy, and some pan out, some don't. I mean, we've seen it a million times.
Sure, and there's no way to be able to.
But they were patient.
They didn't make a whole lot of what you would call really brazen
impulse. Give me just throw away draft picks because I want to move up 3 slots. Crap like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did a very good job of that.
Back-to-back years, you don't trade up in the draft. Did Kellen Moore convince somehow?
That's great. They're normal.
Mickey Loomis, we're just supposed to stick back and wait for your guy. I mean, I thought Miller was maybe a bit of a stretch, but everyone's board's different, and this is a fit for them. It's this very specific Brandon Staley defense, so they want an interior guy who's going to stop the run. He was actually comped a little bit to Devon Godshaw pre-draft, so it makes sense that they would like a player like Miller. But I had a lot of these guys mocked in my drafts, where they fell. Delp, Lance, Styles had the second fastest combine 40 time. So, he's from obviously a family with a lot of athleticism. But, we'll see. We'll see. Jimmy's right. We don't know. We can guess, but we don't know.
How would you grade the draft from 4 years ago? They took Brian Brzee. He's been okay. Not terrible. Been okay.
Think he's been okay?
Yeah,
I think he's been okay.
Not for me.
Underwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
Isaiah Foskey they took in the second round is a complete bust. Kendry Miller in the third round has been a complete bust. Nick Saldivario is a guard from Old Dominion they got in the fourth round, is still on the roster. Jake Haener, the quarterback from Fresno State's no longer on the roster. Jordan Howden, who they got in the sixth round that year, has turned into a useful player. And A.T. Perry, the wide receiver from Wake Forest. So if you look at what is left on the team from the draft of 4 years ago, Brzee, who I think has been a little bit better than you guys think, but okay. Saldivari, who's a backup offensive lineman who's been hurt most of the way, and Howden, who's outperformed his sixth-round status.
They're gonna sign him to a second contract, Brzee?
They're thinking about it right now. That's his option is up. So,
well, if they
the
do,
sack numbers.
If they do, I'll give you.
They feel like the sack numbers didn't paint the whole picture. His sack numbers came down last year.
Of course they don't.
They felt like he was a little bit better than the. He was drafted 29th in that draft. That was the pick they got for was the pick they got for Sean Payton, right? I think that year. I'm not. I think I got that right.
We'll see.
I don't think the Saints were drafted 29th that year. So
that was the pick. Remember, they had traded out to move up with Philadelphia so that they could get
Eagles pick 29.
Right, they could get both of the deals, and then they got this pick in compensation.
Odds are that you'll get more production out of this draft than they did that one.
I hope so. Yeah,
is it fair?
I hope it's more than two guys.
Is it fair yet to say last year's draft was a passing grade with Chuck Banks?
It's off to a really good start. It's off to a really good start.
Danny Sutzman. I mean, Quincy Riley. You had a lot of hits so far, but it's 1 year.
If Tyler Shuck is the long-term starter at quarterback and you got a starting left tackle and a starting quarterback in the first 2 rounds, you could have gone and played golf the rest of the day. That's a successful draft. And they got a lot more than that out of it. So, yes, last year's draft looks pretty good. LSU, after Mansour Delane went in the first round to the Kansas City Chiefs, had 6 other players drafted. A.J. Halsey went in the third round to Indianapolis. Safety is a need for them. He figures to play immediately. Xavier Thomas went in the third round to the Bears, which is a big surprise. I would have thought of him as a lower round pick, but he goes into a situation with a winning team, and good for him. They obviously had him higher on their board than a lot of other people did. Bauer Sharp went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was also a surprise. It was in the 6th round. I didn't think that he would get drafted, to be honest with you. He caught 24 passes, a couple of touchdowns, special teams guy for LSU last year. But good for him. He goes into a situation in Tampa Bay where he's got a chance to make that club. Then Harold Perkins went to the Atlanta Falcons in the 6th round.
6th round.
Well,
that really paid off. His handlers forcing where he plays. Good job.
And they still don't know where he's going to play, but my guess is that it's going to be in some kind of hybrid role for the Falcons. And so,
hybrid or tweener?
Well, take your pick. Which term do you like better?
I think he was an edge rush specialist. If you could do it on 3rd down, whatever, and then removing him from that and trying to develop into something has cost him some stock. 6th round, that was a miscalculation.
I couldn't agree more on the inside linebacker stuff. We said that at the time. That's not a second guess. And, well, he paid for it. I think that if you get Harold Perkins in the 6th round, you can say, okay, this is a luxury piece. If nothing else, we can put him on special teams. God knows he can run. And maybe he develops into a designated pass rusher. I don't know. You can be creative with him. He's a luxury piece. If he doesn't work out, it's a 6th-round pick. And then finally,
telling me on 3rd down you can't use a guy like that?
That's what I'm saying. You use him
situationally.
As a situational specialty piece. When if you can get a situational specialty piece in the 6th round that contributes, that's a good 6th-round pick. Now, if you take him in the 2nd round, you expect more than that.
But he should have never been moved. He should have continued to play where he excels.
I don't disagree at all. And then Garrett
Nussmeier.
Nussmeier.
Like Rooster when you say that. He used to say that all the time. I don't disagree.
I don't disagree.
You just can't say, yep, I agree.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. I agreed for 2 years. You know, we all had that.
It's
the only people in the world that thought Harold Perkins should be playing inside linebacker were his handlers and the coaches.
No, the opposing coaches. They were
hoping,
perfectly fine.
Yeah, they were hoping that he went there. Garrett Nussmeier goes in the 7th round, 249 overall. And he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. You can only figure, this is my thought, my opinion only, nobody's told me this, that the uncertainty with that injury did way more damage than anything else that was on his draft board. The fact that they changed that story so many times about what was wrong with him until they finally come up with this cyst on the spine, I don't think it did him any good. Now, the NFL teams know way more than the public does, so they know the answers to all of these questions, and obviously they were uncomfortable with that because there were 9 other quarterbacks that went in front of him, and I don't think there were 9 better quarterbacks in college in this draft than what Garrett Nussmeier was, even with the bad last year. So I'm calling it on the injury. Nussmeier was going to be an interesting prospect anyway if he had been healthy because of the way he plays and his decision-making at times. So there was always going to be other questions, but to me, this was the big question, is he going to be healthy? And he showed it at the Senior Bowl and showed it, at Pro Day, but apparently that wasn't enough for teams to take a shot on him earlier than what Kansas City did. Good news, bad news. Bad news first. Garrett Nussmeier could have every rep in every practice and every preseason game he plays in absolutely perfect, and he's never going to be the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at Carson Beck, went to Arizona. If he lights it up in camp, they may let him play. Nussmeier, as long as Patrick Mahomes is on that roster and healthy, will never be the starting quarterback for the Chiefs. The good news is that you get to go be in a meeting room with Patrick Mahomes. You get to be on a practice field with Andy Reid. You get to learn from the very best, and hopefully that'll aid in his progression, and somewhere down the line he'll get a shot with another team. So most of Andy Reid's drafted quarterbacks did pretty well in Philadelphia and in Kansas City. Hasn't drafted. This is only the 3rd quarterback he's drafted in Kansas City. Aaron Murray, Patrick Mahomes, and now Nussmeier. And he's been there over a decade. So they don't take quarterbacks just to take them. So I like that part of it, but obviously there's a ceiling there with Mahomes. So
we got to see if Mahomes is going to be ready for
and if he's not, Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback on opening day if Mahomes is not. I mean, they brought him in specifically to hold on if Mahomes is not ready to go. They're going to go with a veteran.
It's I would hope that I would hope that it's some concerns long term about the injury that has caused him to slide, because this is how many times say, well, his play just declined, this year. Okay, was he injured? Yes. Yep. Okay, but so that affected his play. But damn it, I mean, supporting cast. This is the worst offensive line in the history of the program. I mean, as soon as that first conference game when Ole Miss gave the blueprint, no, you ain't got to put in anybody. You're gonna get pressure with 3, and you can cover with 8. I don't care who you are. I mean, that's you're not going to be able to have success when you can get pressure with 3, and he was limited with an injury. So 9 months ago, he is the odds-on favorite to be the first overall pick, and because he's like, and nobody just, man, you got to, if he had protection, he could throw the ball. If he was healthy, man, it'd be a different story. But supporting cast in some conditions, and he had no, I don't care who you are, there's no quarterback. The only quarterbacks that had a chance to get with LSU's offensive line last year against those coverages, not to passing, is guys that could just run. That's it. You just had to run. And we know he's a pocket guy. But, I mean, just to tumble like that because you didn't have a chance? I don't know, man.
Think part of it.
I think he's worth a late round pick for sure, because he can make the throws. That is required. Because if you can't, they're going to cheat on you. Now he's not going to be able to run read option. We get that, but he's got a chance to be a serviceable quarterback in the NFL.
He's way better than the kid from Rutgers I saw play, who went ahead of him, whose name I can't pronounce. He's way better than the kid from Texas Tech, Baron Morton.
Oh, gosh.
And who went in front of him. He is certainly, I think, a better passer than Cole Payton, the kid from North Dakota State, who goes to Philadelphia. Here's your new tush-push guy. Taylon Green, we kind of know about him from Arkansas. And then we talked Alar, Klubnik, and Nussmeier were kind of in the same breath last year as quarterbacks who went in to the season with a lot of promise, and none of them had the year that they were hoping for. All of those guys went in front of Nussmeier. I'm saying it's got to be the injury.
Yeah, I hope it is.
It has to be, because that's something that if the report is correct, he can have a surgery, have it removed, be back in a few weeks, and move on with his career and his life. And he's got great teachers, but he's not going to have an opportunity to play very much in Kansas City.
The patella tendonitis that came up as well. If that's something they're concerned about, if that's something that could bother him long term. I think you combine the injury history with his frame. He's not the biggest guy, right? You worry a little bit, I think, about that happening more down the road.
Not little.
He's not the biggest guy ever.
Okay. All right. But I mean, I don't see where his size is big. He's fragile. Now, because he's immobile, he's taking some more hits, and the coach didn't help him out. Playing him against Southeastern. Sure. What the hell are you doing?
No, that was a mistake.
Stupid.
We're here at Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill. Happy hour every day from 3 until 7. A real happy hour, real discounted drink prices. $2.50 beer, domestic drafts, and bottles. $4 wells and $5 wine. That's 3 to 7 every Monday through Friday, and all day on Sunday starting at 11 a.m. Monday night is all-you-can-eat boiled shrimp from 5 p.m. until close. If wings are your thing, Dollar Wings every Wednesday night. Where you can
like that, Charlie. Wings are your thing.
Wings are your thing.
They're my thing.
You
Let's
can do
go.
line dancing every Wednesday night here at Big Mike's with your Dollar Wings. And, of course, the live music that is here every weekend at Big Mike's. Not too early to start thinking about your fantasy football drafts. They've got multiple rooms that you can use for your fantasy football drafts. We've done that here in the past. Great way to be able to have a group of people. You don't have to set your house up. You don't have to tell your wife, hey, I've got 12 guys coming over here for the entire day. Use Big Mike's bar, food, everything set up for you, all your TVs. They can help you out for your fantasy football drafts. Parties and receptions in the newly remodeled addition here at Big Mike's on Aspen Square in Denham Springs.
And cool evenings right now, man. We've had a really mild spring, and so it's nice when the sun goes down, and you can sit on the patio, and they've got plenty of TVs on the patio to watch the games as well.
Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Handycast coming on LSU baseball later this afternoon. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business in 2026. Supporting our Louisiana farmers. Go to SupremeRice.com. Zurich Classic down in New Orleans this weekend at Avondale. And the Fitzpatrick brothers, the favorites, Max, and your
Chalky Max.
But a consensus pick, you get home with the Fitzpatrick
right.
brothers.
I always pick the favorites in the golf tournaments. No, I mean this was a tournament. We talked about the lack of real top end talent, and so Friday and Sunday and Old Shot, you've got to be playing your golf ball pretty well, and they did that on Friday. That's really when they won this golf tournament, when they go out, and shoot 7 under in round number 2 on an alternate shot. That was a really big round for them. But yeah, they struggled down the stretch here. I mean, they were minus 500 going into the final round, and even on 11, they had a 5-shot lead at one point in this round. But you could tell the pressure actually got to Matt more than it got to Alex. I think the idea that while he's won twice for himself, he was playing for his brother's tour card, his tour status. Now, he probably would have got tour status at the end of the year anyway, being top 10 on the DP World Tour list by the end of the year. Right now, he's 6th, but it doesn't matter. So now he's able to play in the PGA Championship. I mean, it's a huge moment for them, and it was a really cool moment, but also for the Zurich, which, as I mentioned, not the best field, but now you're going to have these guys probably come back. I actually expect they could come back every year, no matter what the schedule looks like. And while they didn't do any karaoke when all was said and done, they kind of bowed out of that
a little
tradition.
Awkward.
Oh yeah, they didn't want to do
awkward.
it. But nevertheless, it wasn't a tradition that needed to be extended because this was a really fun event and a nice finish down the stretch with the up and down for birdie on 18.
All right, so that's all the great part of it. Here's the part that I'm a little concerned about. You tell me if this is, realistic or not. The Golf Channel was kind of taking it to task after the tournament that should a player get an exempt status for 2.5 seasons on a team event. And their take on it was no, that this was not going to sit well with the players, and it's going to give more ammunition to have either the Zurich format change or to have them relegated to a lower stance. Now, this is just a handful of guys talking about this on the Golf Channel.
It's topical.
Yes.
No, come on, man.
So is Max this legit, or is this fear-mongering?
I mean, do you want the Zurich to just be literally a nothing event? When they switched this team event, the initial thought was, wow, you can get 2 years of status for this. There are a lot of players in this field that were under pressure down the stretch because their tour status was in the balance. And it increases the pressure and increases the desire. And sure, your top names don't show up here, but how else are you going to get players to show up if you can't even give them automatic status, just like every other win on the PGA Tour does? You get the 2-year
Every
exemption.
other win is an individual win, though. This is the only team win.
Sure, but Alex Fitzpatrick played really good down the stretch. I mentioned alt shot. Maybe you can change it to where it's a full alt shot event. I think it is a tough watch on TV on Thursday and Saturday. When it's best ball and they're shooting 50 and under par, it is tough to follow.
57.
It is tough to follow on TV. Now,
is.
it's great in person. If you want to go, you actually watch a ton of shots on Thursday and Saturday. If you're there on the grounds, it's great. But it is a tough watch on TV until you get to Friday and until you get to Sunday. But alt shot is a difficult format. And you know what? If the mules at the back end of the PGA Tour have a complaint about Alex Fitzpatrick getting in the tournament, play better. That's all what most people would say. They could have played in this field, and most of the mules did play in this field because there weren't a whole lot of big names here. But a little bit of jealousy here and there. They had to go down the stretch and win this thing. And Alex played well. Alex carried Matt on the back nine for most of this. Matt Fitzpatrick was playing very
Saturday,
poor golf.
I know it was 57. It was goofy golf almost, but he made a ton of shots, too.
He did. He made 10 birdies in the best ball format on Saturday. Alex had to do some of this on his own, too. And so
no, but what's worse, when you're going to give 2 passes, to 2 guys who aren't, like, Fitzpatrick, Matt, he's already in. So you only give up 1 spot. What if you give up 2? For 2 years? two guys that aren't qualified that win the tournament, which is possible, huh?
The players who are concerned about their status, let's face it, they just don't mean that much. For
They
the
aren't
PGA
the needle
Tour.
pushers.
They're
No.
not the ones who you're buying tickets to go watch. So I'm sorry, but if you're 120th and you're at risk of losing tour status slightly because of this, I'm sorry, I don't think the tour really cares.
Is this Chambly? Is this?
Well, I saw some talk about this, but I did like that there was a lot of pushback on this. Like, no, they went out and won the tour event. You know, it was Matt surely did his brother a favor here, and that's why he felt the pressure. But Alex had to go out there and do some things himself. And this is the only way you make the Zurich a tour event, is if you guarantee some things just like the rest of the events. Otherwise, if you don't allow this, then what is this tournament really worth at that point?
Who's this up to, by the way? Is this the Zurich's call and the PGA Tour has to okay it? Or this was the PGA Tour?
Well, the PGA Tour set this up. They're the ones who made it switch. Now,
well,
the Zurich might have asked for some things.
That matters.
And the Zurich is in, their standing. They've been a long-time sponsor. They have some years going forward. So they're going to try to do Zurich, whatever favors they can, albeit they screwed them on the schedule because, they're surrounded by 5 of 6 weeks of elevated events or majors. So it's not like this is, the best event. But I would just say any of the players who have a problem with this, just play better because I'm sorry, maybe you don't have a brother who's the number 3 player in the world, and you can't get that bit of favor for you. But you're not selling tickets if you're the 120th player in the world. You're just not that guy. And so what do you mean for the tour? This is actually a big boost for the tour. There was something to watch down the stretch here because of this. And so, yeah, I think that's easy to say after the fact. We've had mostly good winners here, and that's the other thing I would point to, right? Rory and Brooks, are they a bad winner? No, they didn't steal a tour card spot. You had Davis, Riley, and Nick Hardy. That was one. They secured cards for themselves, and there was a little bit less grumbling then. But, Alex Fitzpatrick is like a top 100 player in the world. I don't think it's unfair that he gets tour status. You have to have some tour status to play in this event. Now he is after the win.
Before.
But before, he won his last event coming in.
What was his ranking?
Data Golf had him like 104. I can look what his official world golf ranking is real quick. But, he won.
Before the tournament, it was 104?
He won the DP World Tour event he last played. He won on the European Tour in India in a very difficult event. So he's not – he didn't come out of nowhere. He's currently 140 in the world golf rankings.
After this?
After this.
So he'd been around 200.
But, there are PGA Tour pros who are outside the top 400 in world golf rankings.
The Zurich was dying for a storyline. They got one. So, it was online. So I don't, and it was, the thing that got me, 57.
Well, you're playing a scramble, right?
I don't mean Rabelais going crazy on that, huh? He's got to really be. That was just.
It rained an inch going in, so they had to play. Anytime you let the pros touch their ball and lift clean place, preferred lies, they're gonna, ace it. I was there on Saturday when they were lighting it up. The very first hole, the Fitzpatrick brothers missed the green. Matt missed the green. He was just on the fringe. He was able to pick it up, clean it, place it, and he chipped it. It was a normal fringe putt. You would probably just putt, but because it's a perfect lie and you control it, they're going to kill those events. So, yes, it's a little easy. I think you could consider making it a full alt shot event, just alternate shot for all 4 days. But either way, he deserves what he got. This was what everyone signed up for, all the other players. He deserves a 2-year exemption.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. A full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. A great team at Legacy Title. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie, and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Big Mike's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
We return at Big Mike's on Aspen Square in Denham Springs.
Let's go to Troy Macker. I'm sorry, Charlie. Troy, you with us?
Yeah, you got me.
Troy, we know that the sports books hate booking the draft, but I got to believe that the house won for the draft based on the way some things fell in it. Am I wrong?
You are, in fact.
Okay.
Not substantially wrong. We took a mid five-figure loss. We took a very small loss last year, a couple $1,000. That's basically, even. In 2024, we took actually a six-figure loss on the draft. So, my data right now only goes back 4 years, but we've taken a loss on each of the last three drafts overall. This year, betting was down, both in handle and tickets from the previous year. That has to do with a lot of limiting of these events in growing markets, just because of how it is pitches. But, the public definitely got more right than wrong this year.
Was there any? What were the specific bets? Do you know that were the big winners for the public in this, or maybe the big losers for them as well?
A lot of them were long odds. Certainly, we took like $25,000 bet on Mendoza to go number one at minus 10,000, so $25K to win 250. That's
right.
Nothing. But long odds picks on some of those first 10 picks to go into position. So Arvell Reese to go fifth overall, that was you could catch it at 30 to 1. Mansour Delane to go where he did, I believe was like 20 to 1. He was 30 to 1 to go sixth overall. Cardinal Tate at fourth overall was 30 to 1. Jeremiah Love at third overall pick was paid out multiple bets at 20 to 1. And these are people putting 50 to a couple $100 on it, and those are big multipliers. So really, how the first round kind of panned, the lottery, so to speak, the top 10 picks panned out, is where we actually took big losses because, well, we weren't surprised at the top 10 in terms of who went. There were some surprises in terms of who they went to, and that's where the multipliers were.
Interesting. Okay, so just complete opposite of sort of what I thought, because there were a lot of surprises in the first round, but it was because of that some guys hit some shots on it. So interesting.
And we're not taking thousands upon thousands of bets at each of these markets. So if there are enough tickets at higher odds, and it happens, that can really stack the deck against the book.
How many of the states that Bet Rivers are in? Well, roughly half took bets on the draft.
It was roughly. It might have been just under 50%. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's but as an operator, a small loss is not a big deal to offer it to your customers. I mean, you can deal with that. You want whitewash credit. Yeah,
absolutely. Because people want to do this, and we want to offer as much that the betting public wants within limitations or within constraints that work for both parties involved.
Was the overall handle down the same, increase from previous? Because it seems that Charlie, doesn't it seem like less and less, a few less people are playing it the draft a little bit because they're a little bit frustrated at the limited menu, or it's just kind of a little. It seems to be it's softened a little bit.
I think that the fact that they have to plan ahead, okay, for a Thursday night event, be it get your picks down on Wednesday or even earlier than that, I think if it were open, and I understand why it's not, if it were open on draft night, I think you'd see a lot more.
Well, there are. I know some. Troy, did you guys have live? And I know that's limited even further, but I know
we did
five
limited.
Picks in advance.
Yeah, it was 3 picks in advance, I believe.
Okay.
Very limited. Obviously, the change in time between draft picks is a factor as well.
How do you feel about the shorter time? Because to me, what I've heard is the real draft enthusiasts who really, really love this, and they're not totally crazy about it. The casual draft observers seem to like it because it moved and it was made more. Sometimes in the past that draft can drag, but it moved. So what'd you feel about it?
I liked it. Now I will say the broadcast needs to get a little bit better at it because I think most people believe the drafts are too long. The first couple picks. Heck, I think most people think their fantasy drafts are too long. You get 2 minutes for a first-round pick. No, man, you should know who you're going to get. But the problem is
you can be in our league, Troy. you can be in our league.
The other way, I think we want to make sure we get, as the fans, we get every pick in the time that we think. And I felt like there were a couple times where they were piling up, or they had to cut off a debate that the desk was having, which I get. But like I feel like they actually got kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit as opposed to having to bleed it out and really drag it on to wait for each pick. So I think if they can get their pacing down, it will be great because I do like how quick it was. And I also like that some teams just said, screw it, we know who we're going to draft. We're not going to, wait 8 minutes, and maybe the network saying you have to for, advertising and whatnot. But there are a couple picks where I was like, they're not only are they already on the clock, the commissioner's back out. So I did, from a viewing experience, I liked it, even though there wasn't nearly as much chaos or surprises as in recent years.
I have to agree with you, Charlie. See, don't disagree. I agree.
Okay.
but to me, I mean, I heard some varied opinions, but I thought it moved better.
I'm a draft nut. This is one of my favorite events of the year. I loved it. I don't think it needs to go down anymore. I think 8 minutes is right. But it moved. You have enough time if you're going to make a trade. They work out a lot of the details of these things or the parameters of these things Thursday morning.
Max?
You had to stay off your phones, as always, but it was even worse this year because they got behind on commercials badly on these things. So at times you were 2 picks behind where they actually were in. It was not quite as, I guess because of the shortened time, I guess the 10 minutes, they normally are able to fit in more commercials. That's one thing that TV broadcasters need to do a better job.
I want to talk about behind. I'm just saying, the Amazon Prime or the NBA, they're behind 10 points in one game. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, now they scored quickly, but, 10 total points between the two teams. That is a lot.
But that's the streaming part of it.
Well, the streaming sometimes is ahead of the cable.
Sure. Okay. But what I'm saying is what that is on Prime.
Not with the NBA.
That's just the gap between live and I'm saying in the draft, live there in studio, they're behind on picks.
I understand what you're talking. I understand, but I like it. I think it moved better. I think in the past it did have a tendency to drag at points. So we're in agreement there, Troy. All right, our boy Jaden Daniels. What did you think about the Commanders draft, and did he get the weapons that he was looking for?
With the weapons he was looking for, I mean, they got. I liked the pick of the running back from Penn State, Allen, and I don't know much about the wide receiver from Clemson, Williams. Just from as a pure fan, he's a small guy, slot guy. We took the slot guy last year prior, but everyone says he's an exceptional route runner. You're gonna love him. So I have no qualms with what they did. Maybe would have liked to maybe reach on a center a little bit more, although they did get a center. As far as the first round goes, the Commanders, they had an easy pick. Like, they need help everywhere, and this is a draft where the premium positions weren't super elite. So you have areas of need all over the place, and Teddy Styles checks all the boxes in all the right places. So it may not be super sexy, and they didn't address the need, but they kind of did because they have needs everywhere. So, I grade the Commanders a B minus. I think probably a B minus, so because they didn't have a lot of draft capital to trade up. So they went the whole second round without a pick. They went the whole fourth round without a pick. They only had one in the sixth. But I think it was a good draft, but it wasn't super loaded on offense. I will mention one thing. A lot of my friends texting, why the heck did they draft a quarterback in round 7? They could have found someone else. I actually like the quarterback they drafted, Ethan Kaliakmanis, who played at Minnesota and Rutgers, and obviously doing the Big Ten show for the Bet Rivers Network. I've watched a lot of Big Ten and a lot of blowouts. And, yeah, he's never going to play, but you certainly, part of your job as a coach is to develop backups at every position, and this guy can swing it. I hope I never have to see him on the field, but I was very impressed with Kaliakmanis as a thrower of the ball in college. I like him more than a Drew Aller type, who I saw play a lot. I don't think he's a third rounder. So Ethan Kaliakmanis, he's on my team, but just as I think remove the team, I think he has really good backup quality.
What about any significant action in the NBA playoffs to this point?
Yeah, a lot of big bets, and as we see from year to year. When this happens, the Lakers are obviously such a public team, and when they're struggling, people fade them. But then people are quick to jump on them, and the people have been backing the Lakers in droves the last few games, obviously, with the way they played. And even in the series market, we've seen a lot of betting on Lakers series winner, exact outcome. And, The 4-1 was a very popular series outcome that people were betting on. You could get very good prices after, before the series began and as the series is unfolded. And then obviously people are still back in the Spurs. No matter how many points they get down to the Trailblazers, they're back in the Spurs. They're going to be a heavy favorite the rest of the way.
Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macher, Machir. Great stuff, Troy. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you Friday.
Thanks, guys.
All right, don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC heating companies since 1980. We've taken that term. We are running those ACs, but we're going to run them a little bit longer as it gets warmer into the summer season. Service today, every day. You call today, you get service today. Nobody sleeps hot when they call 480-1000. Factory authorized dealers for Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem products. My buddy Lucas Ragusa, been in the industry as long as we've been doing sports talk in this market. So he understands what it takes to put a great operation together. He's worked at every different position along the way. 480-1000, Total Maintenance, when your AC unit breaks down during this spring or summer season.
Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Couple of recruiting notes out of LSU as we continue here at Big Mike's. The LSU women's basketball team gets a forward from Mallorca, Spain.
Mallorca.
Mallorca?
Yeah, like double L's, like a Y.
Okay,
it's not tortilla chips.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's from Spain. Her name's Noah Moro, and she is 6'3", average 8 points, 7.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists per game for 25 games when she was with the Costa Bank Carsi team. I'm butchering all of these things. Anyway, she played in Spain. The ladies get her. It was somebody that they had targeted and really wanted as someone that would add some size to the program. On the other side, on the men's side, Mika Murinen committed to Arkansas today. He is a 5-star forward from Finland, 6'10", and a probable lottery pick in 2027. He's got like first pick of the draft upside, but for now, let's just call him a lottery pick. I've seen him listed anywhere from 6'10" to 7 foot, so played on Finland's senior national team. This was somebody that had been a name on some of the LSU lists, but he signs with Arkansas today. So
LSU thought they had a shot at him.
They did, and he is going to Arkansas. So
Mallorca, Charlie.
Mallorca.
The men's tennis team has a player from Mallorca right now, and Rafael Nadal, his hometown, the island of Mallorca.
Hey, I remember him. He was good. Really good clay court player.
He was pretty good on
Who's
on
the starting
everything.
five? Stoudemire, Kent Lowe.
Yeah.
How we running a five
right now? They got one, so they don't have five. Hour number 2, we'll lead with LSU baseball when we come back at Big Mike's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Check out the new Aspen Room here, completely refurbished at Big Mike's. It's great for receptions, for office parties, birthdays, fantasy football drafts, corporate gatherings, baby showers. Done a beautiful job remodeling here on the right side of the restaurant. Come on over and book the Aspen Room for your next event. Today is all-you-can-eat boiled shrimp, 5 o'clock every Monday until closing. Dollar Wings, if wings is your thing. On Wednesday night, Dollar Wings, along with live dancing every Wednesday night, line dancing every Wednesday night. Happy hour, 3 to 7, Monday through Friday, $2.50 beer, domestic bottles and drafts, $4 wells, and $5 wine. And that includes Sundays where they start at 11 a.m. So come on by and see us here at Big Mike's for lunch on Aspen Square here in Denham Springs. LSU swept over the weekend against Mississippi State for the third consecutive weekend. When's the last time LSU got swept 3 games in 3 consecutive weekends? That would be never. The last time LSU lost 9 consecutive SEC games. That would be never. Last time LSU lost 8 straight games to SEC teams was 1955. LSU
before Bourbon.
Way before Bourbon. LSU to ensure a non-losing season has got to win at least 5 of the last 11 to go to the SEC tournament with a 1-game cushion to have an overall winning record. When's the last time LSU had a losing record overall? 1981. None of this is good. All 3 games got off to a good start for the Tigers. They got a 3-0 lead in the first inning of all 3 games, and State reeled them in all 3 days. They
7-3 in both Friday and Saturday, huh?
It was 7-3 and 7-2 on Saturday. 7-3 on Friday, 7-2 on Saturday, and they got out. It was 5-3 on Sunday, and then it was tied at 5. Then LSU went up 8-5 before State reeled them in there. So there's a lot of things. There's nothing much going right for LSU right now. But here's where you can really pinpoint what we're wrong this weekend. And it has been a little bit of a whack-a-mole. Sometimes the pitching has been pretty good and they haven't hit. And sometimes the hitting has been pretty good, which, this weekend they scored a bunch of runs.
I was about to say, Charlie, you said not a whole lot. I mean,
but they hit.
The lineup gave them chances to win.
And especially the freshmen. And I'm going to get to those numbers. And at every point in this season, no matter what's going on with the hitting or the pitching, the defense has been poor. But this weekend, LSU gave up 44 free bases. They walked 8 on Friday night, 7 on Saturday, and 7 on Sunday. They threw 2 wild pitches on Friday, 2 wild pitches on Saturday, and 5 wild pitches on Sunday. The catching has absolutely been atrocious. This is the worst defensive catching I can remember. They committed 1 error on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and 3 more on Sunday, and they hit 6 batters over the weekend. Mississippi State, by comparison, gave up 22 free bases. So if you equate 4 free bases to a run, you're basically looking at 7 runs that LSU gave up for free over the
more
weekend.
Than that. And how many of those free passes? And man, just the bad errors too, man. Not one like, okay, was it a hit or an error type of deal? No, man. I mean,
the comeback into the pitcher, which might have been a double play, but certainly should have been 1 out.
Such an easy play to the first base side. I mean, gosh.
When you don't underhand the ball to the pitcher, that is the base is covered. What are you doing? I can't. I have no explanation for that. LSU let the leadoff runner on in 7 out of 8 innings on Sunday, and I think it was first of all, only one of those was a hit. And then let me see, my other stat was, from the 3rd inning Saturday through the 6th inning Sunday, they got the leadoff man on 12 straight innings. The 6 times on Sunday, hit by pitch, walk, catcher's interference, which I didn't even, count in the whole thing. Hit by pitch, walk, hit by pitch, ground out, homer. That was the first 7 innings on Sunday. I mean, you give yourself no chance when you make that many mistakes, which are, if you want to use a tennis term, Jimmy, unforced errors.
Oh God, yeah.
Those. Now they hit. They scored 10 hits and 10 runs on Friday night. They had 8 runs and 11 hits on Saturday, and they had 8 runs on 8 hits on Sunday. You're looking for any bright spot at all, it was the young guys. Omar Cerner had a big weekend. The freshman had 8 hits, including a double and 2 homers. He drove in 6 runs. Mason Braun, settling in at first base, had 7 hits on the weekend and also reached base via the walk and hit by pitch 3 times. He had 4 runs scored and drove in 2. And Cade Arambini homered twice along with a double to drive in 6 runs. So, they hit, but they were going into Saturday's game. They had burned when Kason Evans was scratched from the Friday game. They had to burn a ton of their bullpen arms.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys that they have used, and these guys haven't been rock solid, but they're the best arms LSU's got. You know, you go over 40 pitches with Gavin Guidry and Devin Sheeran and Zach Cowan. Well, those guys aren't going to be able to come back on Saturday. Who's going to, Schmidt hung in there for 4 innings, but they ran his pitch count up. They got him out of the game, and they blasted the bullpen. Then on Sunday, you were hoping to get, Marcos Paz get you 3 innings. Okay, he gives up the 3-run homer, and the bullpen gets, blasted again. You give up the grand slam when Cooper Williams came in on Saturday night. There's just not a whole lot that Jay Johnson's got left to do. He's used every player on the roster. He's juggled every lineup that you can do. There's no moves for the manager left to make at this point that hasn't been tried before. He's now turned it over to the young kids to say, show me what you got. And guys like, Cerna's been hitting for, this just didn't happen this past weekend, he's been hitting for a good portion of the season and looks like a real star for LSU in the future. And I like Mason Braun. I think he's he looks like a ball player. I think he'll just get better. It's not to say Jay didn't make some mistakes this weekend. I really didn't understand sending Daniel Harden in the pinch hit in the 9th inning on Saturday for Ed Yaman, who had blasted a 3-run homer before. Harden's got just a handful of at-bats in SEC play this year. I know he wanted to go righty-lefty, but I didn't quite get that one, so I'm not saying he's made every right move and it just hasn't worked out. No, he's made some mistakes too. We talked about roster construction last week. That was sort of the theme there. But right now, you're playing out the string. You've got 11 games left. Look at your young kids. See what you got there. Win when you can. They're not going to go to the postseason, so you're going to have plenty of time to evaluate what went wrong, where your transfer portal additions were lacking, where your developmental guys didn't pan out, your construction of your roster, which had a little bit too much of an offensive imbalance, and it left you just completely bare on defense. Johnson understands all this. He addressed it last week. He said, look, I made a mistake. I won't do it again. In the meantime, you're just going to have to suffer through this for the next 3 weeks because there's really no, nobody's riding in to save this team. They're going to finish with a losing record in SEC play. It's going to be the first time, Jimmy, since 1976 that LSU is going to finish with a losing record in SEC play in the 3 major men's sports. You got to go back a long way. You got to go back 50 years. All 3 of the teams had losing records in SEC play: men's basketball, baseball, and football.
What was the football record? Conference?
3-5.
It was 3-5.
Yeah. So there's no good historical numbers here. not a one. It'll go
15th
down.
15th place, behind South Carolina.
Yes, you're behind South Carolina now. You're ahead of only Missouri in the standings. No, this will go down statistically, and I'm saying this in real time. This will go down statistically as one of the worst seasons in LSU men's sports history. Mm-hmm. There is a great deal of excitement around here because there is a new football coach. There is a new men's basketball coach. There is not going to be a new men's baseball coach and doesn't need to be. You got the right guy. He had a bad year, okay? It happens. He's not the only guy this has happened to. We've seen other great coaches have a bad year. Chalk it up and learn what you can in the last 11 games and pack it up and get into the offseason because that's kind of where you are right now.
I think about the 9th inning call on a 4-6-3 double play. Leadoff guy gets on.
Yeah.
They reversed it, called it out on the field.
That's a play that you've seen a million times, at least we did growing up, where you used to get the neighborhood call. This was a lot closer than the neighborhood call. He missed the bag. He missed it by a fraction of an inch, but he missed it. So
I think you're talking about a different. You talking about the first baseman missed it?
No. I'm talking about when you're talking about when Milam missed second base.
Did he miss that? I mean,
Yeah, he
we're
did.
not talking about the one that was hit to the third baseman that pulled Record off.
No,
Okay.
no.
So
You're
he
talking
did
about
miss.
different
He
play.
did miss the bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did.
Okay.
He did.
Okay.
Not by much, but he did.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so all I can tell you is
And that's by far your best fielder, huh?
yeah, and it's not an error, but he.
Oh, it's a play that's got to be
It's
made.
a play that he should make,
That's
and he
routine.
makes most of the
You
time.
the only reason it's not an error because you can't anticipate a double
Yeah,
play. But
you made
no,
7
that's,
errors besides
that's an
that.
error.
Yeah, you made 7 errors besides that. I mean, the only thing keeping this from being the worst defensive team that I have seen here, and I've been watching them since '86, is that Milam has had a phenomenal year with the gloves. So I'm gonna grant him a little grace here. Other than that, this is the worst defensive team I have
It's
seen.
just unbelievable, man. That just those errors just I mean, fuel these rallies, man. You know, these opposing hitting rallies. And no, the one guy that's by far your best fielder. It's not even close on a pitiful fielding team. It just wasn't hit the bag.
Throw your catching defense in that mix too. I know it's not just
We've
errors.
talked about that forever.
the
Ad nauseam.
catching defense
No,
is
the wild pitches are twofold. Yeah, it takes two to have those type of wild pitch. They're most wild pitches in the SEC, and they have like 35 more than the second most. I mean, it's ridiculous.
They have 39 just in league play. Not even counting
37 now.
What's that?
37 wild pitches.
But you just
I thought
you
37?
your wild pitch. You got like first and second. You advance 2 runners. You stay out the double play possibility. I mean, it's just so many. But walks and hit batsmen and errors. I mean, just
I'm gonna run this.
I know, but with it on a positive, that place was on fire. You're still a team. If they could rush the field, have a field rush, they do it. I mean,
I talked to Hunt yesterday. He
It
was
was
up there. He said it
was on
15,000 people.
fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful facility. They take it really seriously up there, and it was popping.
and they had
it.
they had an opponent. Look, they're in line to beat the team that's won 2 out the last 3.
When's the
That's
last-
won so many championships.
When's the last time they swept LSU, there or here?
What's that?
When's the last time Mississippi State swept LSU, there or here?
85.
Very good. 1985. You got to go back more than 40 years. We talked about that last week. And they're lining up to take their shots at LSU because LSU's beating them all so bad for so long.
Yeah.
Last week was the first time that A&M has swept them since they've been in the conference in 2012. Ole Miss got them. That was the first time they had swept them up there. And I forgot the stat.
But just
now, but
just the finality of this, because any shot they had up, but they're in position, but they're just so bad. And look, when you scratch your starter and you got to use your bullpen to get those innings, and then you lose it when you're 1 out away.
He did everything he could to win that.
Were they 1 strike away?
I don't know if they were ever 1 strike away.
But 1 out away.
They shot every bullet that they had on Friday night.
But then
they could.
they win it again. It takes a grand slam to pull it even, and on Saturday.
Yeah, they had to.
I mean, it's just
everywhere you look. So here's in SEC games, 6.5 ERA. That's 15th in the league. 165 WHIP, which means you're giving up a base runner and a half, over a base runner and a half an inning. That's 15th. They're 15th in walks. They're 3rd in strikeouts.
Oh no, because
They still get-
that's a
there's
box
still
score.
stuff.
We talked about that at a podcast, Charlie. But that tells you that they have stuff. There's some talent on the hill that's just all over the place.
They're last in wild pitches. They're tied for 9th in hit by pitch, and that surprised me. I thought they were worse than that because there are times where it feels like there's a full-on tractor beam for the baseball to hit the guy. And, of course, they have the worst fielding percentage in the league at 963, which is just, I'm sorry, awful. Last year might have been the best defensive team they've ever had, certainly in the conversation.
Carriolo was making some catches in center.
Carriolo made some very nice catches up against the wall. Ball carried well there. You had some balls that, for both teams, that looked like kind of routine fly balls off the bat that made it to the track. So it's warm and ball was traveling. Yes, he made a couple of nice catches to save him from even more.
Vanderbilt, the only really pitching staff that seems to have some worse stats.
They're
also in a small ballpark too.
And that's another coach that's got 2 national championships on his resume, and they're having a lousy year. It happens. It happens.
No, it doesn't happen.
Not to this
No,
extent.
it's never happened.
I would.
No, this has never
No, I
happened.
mean, you have bad years. Not to this extent. No, this is the worst. This is going to go down as the worst LSU baseball
preseason
year.
number 1. Scouts paid to evaluate talent.
Yeah.
Saying as long as he's there with those resources, they're all playing for second.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, and so boy, when it rains, it pours. And I thought, man, I was a little surprised they were actually in position to win every game the way they were. And it's just, they had the right. State had the right approach. They're going to get to that bullpen. They know they're thin there, and so. But
how often do you jump out to a 3-0 lead in the first inning? Not terribly often. You do that 3 days in a row.
I thought the lineup competed at the plate.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they were constantly putting pressure on State's pitching and defense.
We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store and the Pierreport Store, open in La Rose and Lockport. And now with lumber available at all 4 locations, delivery out of Pierreport and Lockport. So if you've got a construction project on your property, all your building supplies, your materials, including the lumber, can be delivered to you out of these properties for all of your outdoor cooking, your gardening, your lawn care. Here, as we're deeper into the spring, significant discounts at the website. TheThibodeauStore.com will get you to all 4 of these websites. And again, if you can order it online, you can pick it up the same day. Delivery available at a number of these on a number of these products. Hand tools, power tools, custom-made Cypress furniture, fishing gear down at the Thibodeau Store if you're going down to the coast doing a little fishing, 900 St. Patrick Highway. And again, online, TheThibodeauStore.com.
So great service. As soon as you walk in, how you doing? It's just an old-time feel, man, and just a well-run independently store. Just top-notch. It's Charles, it's not you don't walk in every place these days and get a nice friendly smile or can I help you? It doesn't.
And expert
it's
service.
Rare.
Expert service. You won't be wasting time or money on your home projects. Live at Big Mike's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Big Mike's again Monday nights. All you can eat boiled shrimp every Monday night from 5 p.m. until close. Dollar Wings on Wednesday nights and happy hour 3 to 7 Monday through Friday and all day on Sunday starting at 11 a.m. Max, this story has just come out on a quarterback that very nearly, or under different circumstances, could have ended up in Baton Rouge. Brendan Sorsby, quarterback who left Cincinnati and went to Texas Tech, was very highly coveted by a bunch of programs, including LSU, is in a little bit of trouble.
Yes, he is taking an indefinite leave of absence from Texas Tech to treat a gambling addiction, residential treatment program for gambling addiction. But the big news here, perhaps for Texas Tech's season, is that he is under NCAA investigation. They have discovered that he made thousands of bets via a gambling app, including back in 2022 when he was on the Indiana team. This is pre-Kurt Cignetti. He did not play that season, but he was found to have bet on Indiana. So this is something the NCAA takes very seriously. They've put out a statement saying that due to confidentiality rules put in place, they will not comment on any investigations. However, they take sports betting very seriously, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, I mean, Sorsby, if his status is in danger, I know they've got the Will Hammond
I'd
still
say
there.
it's in a lot of danger.
Massive, massive news for Texas Tech and a guy who almost could have come to LSU.
The guidelines that they put out back in 23 was that anything greater than $800 in wagering would lead you to a loss of at least 30% of your season, and that it would go up from there. If he's had, would you say thousands of
bets?
Thousands of bets.
Amount, but
well,
you'd have to imagine
it's way more than $800. He was Texas Tech. Cincinnati sued Sorsby for $1 million for breach of contract. So I remember the tug of war that was going on for this guy, Jimmy, when LSU was looking for a quarterback. It was Sorsby and Levitt were right up there at the top, and Sorsby, as far as I could tell, was the first guy that they went.
Yeah, they got outbid by Texas Tech.
Yeah, and it's a $5 million deal. I think maybe a little in excess of $5 million deal. And so now you got a guy that is in real. It's May essentially. This week we turn the calendar to May. Man, there ain't no more quarterbacks to go get.
No. Texas Tech's in trouble.
Now, Will Hammond's still there on the roster. He played a little bit for them, and at times,
the freshman. He used to be a sophomore.
At times showed some stats that he was maybe better than Baron Morton, who was injured.
He played great in the game at Salt Lake City.
He ended up getting hurt and lost the rest of his season, but at least they have some guy with some status that's there. But yeah, this is a huge blow, perhaps for.
What kind of vetting do you think the schools? And I'm not blaming Texas Tech here necessarily.
How do you know, Charlie?
Well, I don't. I'm saying how much vet. That's why I'm asking the question. How much time do they have to do to vet all of these guys in the transfer portal? I mean, you are in such a time crunch. How much?
What you going to do? You going to
Exactly.
interrogate the guy? I mean, you're butt kiss mode in recruiting. Everybody's trying to get you in. I mean, it's just.
You're checking arrest records, obviously. You're checking. Well, I used to check academic records. I guess they don't care about that anymore. But you're checking to see if the guy's got a criminal record.
Well, there's nothing publicized when he was coming out. So how
would they know? And how much time do you really have? How many resources do you have to really go vet? I mean, we just finished with the NFL draft. These NFL teams have been vetting these guys for a year, if not more. Okay. What chance do you have if you're a school?
This is not the NFL process where they have their own investigative arms and have a lot of resources.
Correct. Yeah.
Where they know as much, if not more, than the law officials around. I mean, I think very, very little. I mean, if they're eligible there,
Jimmy, last year LSU didn't even know that A.J. Halsey was going to be suspended for the first game, and that was on TV.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you possibly have enough
hitting
resources
on some obscure channel, ESPN?
Yeah. So I got to imagine that Texas Tech is like, I'm sure they did some homework on him, but how are they supposed to know?
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
LSU dodges a bullet. I mean, I know Levitt's got the injury that he's got to come back from, but at least the screws are out of his foot, and he's on his way to making a recovery.
Levitt over Sorsby looks a lot better now. Yeah. I mean, he's going to have a hard time getting eligible.
Remember Hunter Deckers, former Saint quarterback who was on the practice squad. He was suspended the entire 2023 season at Iowa State due to gambling. Now, I don't know if he was I think he might have been playing
This
at that time,
is one where the NCAA still has a little, and they should. You just can't do it, man. You can't do it.
They have made it very clear that this is
you can't do it.
A bridge too far. You cannot gamble on your team, against your team, on another team. You can't do it. The LSU dodges a bullet there on Brendan Sorsby.
Don't forget our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime. Our consensus report, how about that? Max with a winner, huh? So, Max is going to gloss over this controversy of giving little Fitzpatrick his card for 2.5 years.
I think he should get 4 years. Come on.
Hey, he more than held his own on Saturday that I saw, and on Sunday as well. But Dana Brown, listen, you get in an accident, man. It is a pain in the backside. There's no doubt, but he's going to make it absorb the pain for you and deal with the insurance companies and deal with the hospitals or the doctors and line you up with some with the specialists, get you in to see the doctors ahead of time with his connections that he has there. So it's never a convenient time. It's such a pain, but he's going to absorb the pain as much as possible. Dude, like I did when I was in an accident, the car was totaled, had to get a rental car, Had to go see doctors, get checked out, man. Head buzzing in the head, headaches, the whole thing. Downtown Dana Brown, 343-1111. Never a charge for that initial consultation. And if you need to come in and discuss your case, well, we'll let you know exactly where you stand if you are entitled to something, if they think your rights are being infringed upon. 343-1111 and ocbrown.com.
Live at Big Mike's on Aspen Square, live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If you like your ball shrimp, come by and get them here at Big Mike's tonight. Starting at 5 o'clock every Monday is all-you-can-eat ball shrimp. Starting at 5 all the way until close. Dollar Wings every Wednesday night, along with line dancing and happy hour from 3 until 7, Monday through Friday. A great neighborhood bar and grill that you can come by and relax after work here on Aspen Square in Denham Springs. A few more out of the NFL draft that wanted to get your thoughts on. Jimmy, big on both of you guys, big on D'Angelo Pons, the defensive back from Indiana. He lasted all the way till number 50 with the Jets. And this is a year where most people seem to like what the Jets and the Browns did in the draft.
Well, the Jets had a lot of picks.
The Jets had a lot of picks. The Browns
did they maximize? I mean, I don't know.
Browns did very well last year, too.
The Browns did have a very good draft last year.
I'll take a stab and say that the second player drafted from Indiana is going to have a better career than the first player drafted. I think the wide receiver is pretty ordinary. I think Pons is way above ordinary.
5'8" and 5'8", so that his size is a concern with Pons.
No, I hear you. Yeah. So when he picks sixes, they don't measure him to give him 6 points, you know. So he's got a 43. He's got a 43.5 vertical. He plays way bigger than his size. I mean, he can flat out play. And, you know, if he was 6 feet, he might have been drafted top 10. Yeah. But he is.
I think he would have been.
I mean, his tape is ridiculous. And so, I mean, he had to go to James Madison and had to have earned it. I mean, my goodness. I mean, first couple plays from scrimmage, against Oregon, pick 6.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this guy he's fantastic.
One of the more astounding statistics that I've ever seen is that the Jets did not intercept a pass last year.
That is
in an entire season. That you would never think that could happen.
But sometimes they give they give the grades because they got. But did they maximize all those picks? You know.
Is David Bailey going to be an elite pass rusher?
He should be pretty damn good.
Is Kenyon Sadiq? He is physically gifted. You can do a lot of different things with him.
I think Sadiq is really going to be very interesting. I don't know if the Jets have the creative offensive minds to best, to utilize his talents. He is a freak. We get it. I mean, Vernon Davis, part 2. Sure does sound like it, huh, Charlie? Not super tall tight end, but man, he's just so much faster and just so much a combine freak, and that's what Vernon Davis was. And Vernon Davis with San Francisco was, and then I think he went to Washington for a while after that, but would show you flashes.
Yeah.
But was he the consistent, productive player that he could have been?
Maybe not, but he was in the league. He was in the league a long time. And
but why is this guy for Oregon? Why is Sadiq? Why was he not more productive? I mean, he's as fast as strong. I mean, why?
I didn't watch Oregon close enough to be able to give you a good answer.
Oregon wants to be a line of scrimmage team first. Okay,
he's a good blocker.
So
yeah.
You think
he's decent inline blocker, and I think he opens some things up for other guys on that team.
I don't know about that. A guy with his physical attributes, I'd like a guy that mauls people a little bit better than that. So he's a mystery, man. He's a guy that can do things for his size that very few can't. So very few can rather. So I mean, in the right system, are the Jets one of the more creative offenses to best utilize his talents? I'm not so sure about that.
They certainly haven't been in the recent past, but New quarterback, new year. We'll see.
And they already have Mason Taylor. This is the trend we talked about at the end of last year a lot.
Taylor had a nice year. I think he caught 44 passes.
Did. Yeah. He did. There's a lot more of these 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets. At the end of last year, we saw that trend, and I think it's no shock that we saw 9 tight ends go in the first 2 days. It seemed like they went early. They all went at once. That's why I thought Oscar Delp was a great pick, because he ended up being the 7th tight end taken, and I had him like third of the whole class. But you saw a ton of tight ends go in the back end of round 2 and the beginning of round 3, and so that's the trend that we're seeing. The Rams did it, the Patriots did it, the Niners went to it, the Seahawks certainly did it. A lot of these 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets. That's the trend right now of NFL offenses.
I mean, Geno Smith,
As far as Omar Cooper, the receiver, I thought he was a good player. I don't know necessarily.
He's fun, but not. I don't know about that. I think that's a little bit of a reach on him.
I like Denzel Boston better from Washington. He went about 10 picks after him. The size-speed combination I liked a little bit better there. All right, what about Carson Beck going with the first pick of the 3rd round to the Cardinals?
Well, they get a guy that has a chance to start for him.
They got Jacoby Brissett.
You're playing your journeyman backup in Brissett, who's a stopgap type of guy.
They also have Gardner Minshew there, so they've got 2 veterans who are journeyman guys. When would you give this guy a shot?
Both really backups, Both are not desirable. If they are of one of
the bridge quarterbacks,
they're. Can they be better than some starting quarterbacks? Yes, but they're not going to.
They're nobody's long-term answer.
They have their limitations, and so opposing defenses are able to cheat on them.
They're no long-term answers.
Yeah, but Beck, I don't know, man, about that guy. He did, the Florida State game. That part of the season, he was playing really well, well. And then he's, the SMU game, the loss there, he was bad. I don't know about him sometimes. They were so good up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage that he should have been better. They had weapons. I mean, the freshman is as good as anybody in college football, this year. They took the little slant against Ole Miss. I forget his name, but he was outstanding. So
Malachi.
Tony.
Yeah, Malachi Tony.
I don't know. He's certainly kind of a knucklehead. I mean, he hasn't really handled the NIL, the things you afforded with. I mean,
at least he doesn't have money in his pocket for the first time.
I don't know. He's spending. He's going through it pretty good.
That used to be the big thing. It's like, man, all these guys got money in their pocket for the first time. Well, no, that's not the case anymore. Some are being compensated really well. The Beck pick didn't throw me as much as the Drew Allar pick to the Steelers about a dozen picks after that. When I saw that pick, I went, uh-oh, Nussmeier's in trouble. Because Allar was hurt last year, and he was inconsistent. You had a lot of question marks around him, and the Steelers, who were one of the places where, man, if Nussmeier went there, that'd be great, because maybe Roger's probably going to play next year, but then that's going to be it. He'd have a real chance there.
You'd rather be in Pittsburgh than Kansas City?
Yeah. Well, what do you value? An opportunity with the team that drafts you to play, because I think that there will be an opportunity for Drew Allar to play. If not this year, then certainly in 27. There's never going to be an opportunity for Nussmeier to play in Kansas City. Now, if you want to say that it's worth it to go and be in a room with Patrick Mahomes and be on a practice field with Andy Reid, and that's valuable, and he'll get a chance somewhere else, I understand that. But if you're talking about the opportunity of playing time anywhere in the near future, no, Pittsburgh's a better spot. Now, you don't get Andy Reid, you don't get Patrick Mahomes to mentor you, but you would have a chance to play.
It seemed like Will Howard, too. We'll see how that works. But the one thing about Aller and Beck that it seems like the NFL's looking at here, and obviously the injuries with Nussmeier were a real thing, but I think they have better arms than Nussmeier does.
Allar does for sure. He's got a bigger arm. I mean, that was never the problem
Beck
with
can
him.
make some throws down the field a little bit better than Nussmeier.
I always thought Allar's arm. Yeah,
I don't think so.
Now, he misses throws.
I think Nussmeier, when healthy, has as big of an arm as Aller. Aller's bigger. He's bigger. There's no doubt.
On deep balls is where I see that the biggest problem for Nussmeier.
I don't. So
okay, we disagree on that. But when they took Allar, who has, if your question mark on Nussmeier is the injury. Well, this guy had a pretty significant injury too. So that was when I started getting real nervous about where Nussmeier might go. Other guys, Zachariah Branch, the receiver from Georgia, who got arrested last week, ended up going in the third round. I don't think it hurt him all that much. He would have been maybe a little bit before that. That ended up not hurting him nearly as much. It was a pretty minor charge, but it was kind of a knucklehead thing to do. Falcons also took Avion Terrell to pair with his brother at AJ back bookend corners.
You talk about the South, man. I thought Tampa Bay got a guy that slid.
Oh, Ruben Bain, absolutely.
I think that's that Tampa Bay hit goal with that one.
We watched a ton, Max, of mock drafts leading up into this thing. You ever see Bain get to 15?
I did.
You did?
Late in the process. I saw him going 15, and then I saw Messidor actually going like right behind him at 16.
I never saw him get that. I never saw him get that deep. Jimmy, you see nobody.
I think his total it was sliding. I mean, it was. I mean, what mocks are we talking about? I mean, geez. I mean, these guys change their mocks. Over. No, you can't keep up. I mean, do you get a pass with the first 7 mocks, and then your 8th mock is the one that counts? I mean, but his like guy like Jordan Tyson, his over/under was going lower and lower to where it went to 8.5. He got drafted 8. Okay, Baines was sliding from I guess it started around 5.5, 6.5, something like that, and it just went into the teens.
I think when I was looking, Dallas was heavily rumored for either Bain or Downs, and when Downs fell to Dallas and they traded up that one spot and they took Downs, it felt like it might be a little bit longer until we see Ruben Bain.
I think the short arms are definitely a topic of discussion, and it hurt Campbell. There's no question as the quality of edge rushers he had to block in the playoffs, as that improved, he struggled, including the most high-profile game of the season, and that's in the Super Bowl. And I think it hurt Bain here, and I'm not so sure if it's, as big of a deal as some people think.
I think Bain can be a good player, but I think
I got a good chance.
I think he could be an interior defensive line. He played a little bit of Miami, and the positional value for a defensive tackle is not what an edge rusher is.
I saw him play against the best competition in the country and have his way.
And see, I like him as a defensive end and an odd front is, I think, his best position, a kind of a 5 technique. I think that would be optimum for him. We'll see.
Put him where you want.
Yeah, no, I think
he's disruptive. Man.
I would have taken him. If the Saints would have taken him at 8, I'd have been fine with that.
Yeah.
7 LSU players signed after the draft. Jack Pyburn with the Bucks, Jacoby and Guillory with the Chargers, Chris Hilton with the Commanders, West Weeks with the Colts, Josh Thompson with the Chiefs, and Aaron Anderson, Bernard Gooden, both with the Browns. I would say of that group, I like the 2 guys in Cleveland with the best shot maybe to make the roster. Aaron Anderson can do a lot of different things, and he catches the ball out front. I thought a highly productive guy when he was healthy. And Gooden, if you're looking for a quicker rotational defensive lineman, not the biggest, but he was disruptive. Somebody can get in there, get into a rotation. I don't know what you're the Cleveland guy.
Well, I would say they're pretty deep at defensive line, so
okay.
that's one thing.
Maybe that's not the best. Those are the 2 guys I like the best
Cleveland
from their play-in.
It's from Bruley.
Those are the two players I like the best. We'll see if they get a Cleveland. Your Cleveland guys are going to be so happy, right?
They were very pleased with their draft. They were a little concerned with Casey Concepcion because they have a problem with some of the receivers who have a drop issue, kind of that tag.
And he does.
Concepcion does, but I think Concepcion's a great pick for them. I mean,
they come back and they take Boston, 8 picks later, 10 picks later?
Some people thought, they got to take Boston there instead of Concepcion. Well, they ended up
getting both. Which is what I would have done.
So,
they got them both.
Yeah,
they got them both. That was my thought on it.
It's a high bar, and it's probably unfair, but Concepcion got a little Amon St. Brown in him, which we love.
I could see that.
I mean, he got a little toughness to him, man. He got a little bit of
makes plays after the catch.
He's got a long way to go to have the dependable hands. I mean, when do we see St. Brown drop balls? It doesn't happen.
Never.
So, but he's got a little bit of that toughness.
You got to give a fair, whoever it is at quarterback. You got to give him a fair, team around him, right? And so if it's Shedeur Sanders, now he's got a receiving core. He doesn't have that excuse anymore. They're giving him that.
They got more quarterbacks and receivers on the roster now. We drafted another quarterback.
Taylor Green? They needed another quarterback. Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Big Mike's live at lunch. All you can eat ball shrimp every Monday night starting at 5 o'clock. Dollar Wings every Wednesday and line dancing on Wednesday nights here. Live music every weekend here at Big Mike's. Jimmy, we got 3 games in NBA tonight. 2 series can close out. Minnesota, despite the injury to Anthony Edwards, can close out the Nuggets tonight. That's the late game. The Thunder looking to sweep the Suns, and the Pistons and Magic, where Orlando leads that series 2-1 and at home tonight.
It's going to be hard without Edwards to go to Denver and win tonight or Game 7. So you're looking at maybe one opportunity to win a Game 6 at home, where you got to rally without your guy. I mean, it completely changes the series. In Denver, might have gotten a real pass on this thing, and because San Antonio, they handled it. They played without Wembanyama, fell behind 15 points, still came back and won 30-0 run, splitter. Call timeout. I mean, dude, he just sat there and watched it. I mean, he's done such a good job with Portland this year. And what did they do with Wembanyama last night again? They're down 16 points, 18, 19, whatever it was, a lot. And they come back and win by 15, 18. It was unbelievable. The same game, how it progresses 3-4 in Portland. Orlando's the real thing. Forget 1-8. I think Orlando's got more guys that can create their own shot than Detroit can. And it's just they've been a big time disappointment for the regular season, but this is a different sport. When they get to the Pistons, are a real tough spot. -3.5. That's reactionary there. I think Orlando's got a great shot to beat them there. So OKC is going to probably take care of business. But Minnesota, Denver, that could have been so much more entertaining. But without Edwards, he's going to miss the rest of the series. Probably not.
Thanks to our hosts here, Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill here in Denham Springs, where it's all you can eat ball shrimp tonight and every Monday night starting at 5 o'clock. For Jimmy, for Max, Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.